Happening today, millions of Democratic voters around the country will head to the polls today for Super Tuesday. The field, though, is rapidly dwindling. On Monday, Amy Klobuchar became the third candidate to drop out of the race following Saturday's South Carolina primary. CBS 4's Skylar Henry is at a polling site in Alexandria, Virginia, with more.
Maribel, good morning. Well, this is by far and away the biggest day in the Democratic presidential primary. We're here at a polling location in Virginia where in just a few hours, hundreds of people are set to cast their vote. Now, in this state, several leaders have already endorsed former Vice President Joe Biden, including Senator Tim Kaine, the former vice presidential candidate himself, which would add to Joe Biden's momentum that he's seen in the last few days. Meantime, Senator Bernie Sanders is trying to maintain his lead as the frontrunner.
On the eve of Super Tuesday, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders welcomed new voters.
To all of Amy and Pete's millions of supporters, the door is open. Come on in.
Now out of the race themselves, Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg threw their support behind Joe Biden.
I'm delighted to endorse and support Joe Biden for president.
It is time for Americans to join hands instead of pointing fingers.
Some voters are following their lead.
I'm now 100% on Biden's train.
Others are taking a new look at the field.
One of my favorites dropped out, so yeah, now I'm looking to see how am I going to shift.
Delegates from 14 states and 1 U.S. territory are up for grabs today. Biden is looking to keep his momentum going after a big victory in the South Carolina primary last week.
Texas and Minnesota and the rest of Super Tuesday states, you're going to have a lot to say about it.
CBS News political consultant Leonard Steinhorn says Sanders remains the frontrunner despite the recent shakeups.
Bernie Sanders is still going to yield a lot of delegates on Super Tuesday and will likely emerge out of Super Tuesday ahead of everybody else.
Still in the race, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
We're looking forward to gaining as many delegates as we can tomorrow, especially from the great state of California.
And former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who spent almost $500 million on the race, is appearing on the ballot for the first time.
Now, here's a reminder. A huge chunk of the delegates a candidate needs to become the next Democratic presidential nominee comes today, which leads to several questions. Will Bernie Sanders maintain his delegate lead? Will the fact that Michael Bloomberg's name on the ballot for the first time impact some of those moderate Democrats who may have voted for Joe Biden? And could we see a surge from Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's done well in several polls across the country? We're here in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm Skylar Henry, CBS 4 this morning.
And Democratic presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg will spend Super Tuesday stomping across the Sunshine State. Bloomberg will start the day having coffee with former City of Miami Mayor Manny Diaz before visiting a Bloomberg field office in Little Havana. Later, he'll travel to Orlando before wrapping things up in West Palm Beach. And the polls will reopen later this morning for early voting in Miami-Dade and Monroe counties. It begins Saturday in Broward. Now, don't forget, you can only vote in the party in which you are registered. It's now too late to make any changes for this primary. We do have a list of all the early voting locations posted on our website, cbsmiami.com/campaign2020. 6:11.